So Benzino dropped another diss record at Eminem. And if you're wondering how this started, people, Friday, Joyner Lucas put out a record, and Eminem mentioned Benzino's name and Coi Leray's name in the record. And I guess in Slim Shady fashion, Eminem thought that, certain people are easy targets. You could just say their name on records and it would be a clout chase for that record and get streams up, and they ain't going to say nothing. But to his dismay, not only did Benzino come with a record that Monday, 16 bars, I believe, but he came with another record, which is 4 minutes and just straight bars for 4 minutes 2 days later, which was this morning. And I thought this record was pretty good. What were your thoughts on this record? It's called Rap Elvis, by the way. Excuse me.
The record's actually really dope, Mike. If you talk about my daughter, I'm gonna go Tupac on you too and keep on dropping diss records and bomb first on you continuously, whether you respond or not. And so I think what people are forgetting in this is that, well, Eminem mentioned this man's daughter. And although his daughter is in the public eye and in the public view, that's still his daughter. And any father knows, it's like, oh, if you fuck with my baby girl, it's game on. And so it's game on. And I kind of could feel this coming a little bit, but then I heard the record today and I'm like, yeah, he feeling some type of way. And I think people also forget, like, Benzino was really out here, Mike. Like, he was heavy in the streets up in Boston. Like, he's known. The name of his crew is Made Men. No, he's a made guy where he's from. Like, he can walk around where he's from, like in the toughest areas in Boston. And Boston's hoods are rough. You know what I'm saying? And he can walk around, Mike. So it's like he has the street cred that Eminem doesn't have. And you done mentioned his daughter's name. It wasn't pretty, Mike, but it is what I love about hip hop. It was some good old fashioned inner city angst from Benzino. And it was well written, very articulate, and well delivered. It was a dope ass diss, Mike.
I liked a lot of the points that he brought up. And,
That's what I mean. It was well articulated, Mike. He said some things where I was like,
I think the thing is, man, like, not many media outlets, whether it be journalism, whether it be, hip hop, websites or hip hop shows, whatever, podcasts, you're not going to find too many people out there that go give you a deep dive and critique Eminem's career out there. I mean, we're one of the few that do that. More people do it now. I think it's just time. We're in an information age. And we have a generation now that you just can't fool. You can't just turn on the TV and they tell you, okay, this person's the greatest and this generation believes it. People want to do their own research and stuff now. And a lot of the things that were said in here, this record, I mean, were some things that we talk about on this show and that people talk about on social media. As far as like when he mentioned the Detroit MC that was saying that Eminem's not around here. He doesn't represent Detroit like that. The fact that he said something along the lines of, you come from the battle rap world, but you don't support any of these battle rappers. You don't support the battle rap scene like that. Drake was out there in the battle rap scene. He shows up to these URL joints. He's the biggest artist in the game currently.
Hold on. First of all, a couple things that he did on there. When he bought up the Drake thing and how Drake shows up to battles and stuff like on some rap shit. But that's what I've been trying to tell y'all about Drake. It's like, no. He got a lot of rapping nigga tendencies outside of the singing. Like he does. It's like we're forever going to remember him because he has sang so many hooks for so many other rappers. Like he's this, quote unquote, getting bodied by a singer nigga. Keep trying to tell you that's a rapping ass rapper inside of there that likes rap shit, that likes going to underground rap battles.
And it's funny, man. I said this maybe when Mos Def said his original statement that he is clearly backtracking from. Now we're going to get to that. I was like, listen, man, if y'all aren't willing to say that Eminem's pop, I don't want to hear the Drake being pop thing because Drake is way more battle tested than Eminem has ever been. That's just the truth.
Think about this,
I'm
Mike.
glad he brought up Drake in this record as well.
No, that's what I mean. He said some insightful things when he made the Drake reference. I was like, yeah, Drake be outside with rap niggas doing rap shit, Mike.
Because you know
He
what the
do.
stands can't say? They can't say, well, you know what? Eminem's too big to be at these rap battles. Oh, no, no. Drake's there.
Right.
What you gonna
And
say
look, and the
now?
thing about it, and you want to know what's wild about it too, Mike? When Drake is there, niggas be happy that Drake is there.
It's an
Like, oh shit,
opportunity.
it's Drake. Like the underground rap niggas be like, oh shit, Drake in here.
Well, you know what Drake
Like
has
it
the
don't be
ability to do that Eminem can't do, and he kind of highlighted this on the record as well. Drake actually has the ability to give you a hit record in the streets. He can do what Block Boy JB he did for Block Boy JB. Eminem can't do that for you. And when he listed all these
expeditiously, Mike.
artists, huh?
Expeditiously, Mike. He can do it expeditiously.
And when he listed all of these artists that never took off from Shady Records, I've never heard anybody speak like that or speak of that, and it's factual.
That was the most poignant part of the record, actually, Mike. Because he gave M props for 50, and then like he gave M props for 50 first, and then he detailed everybody else's failures. And
And
he
he didn't
knows it.
even mention. You remember Bobby Creekwater?
I was about to say,
He
and
didn't even
he
mention him.
and well, he's also smart. He didn't mention Obi Trice because Obi actually went platinum.
Yeah, but I'm just
And so
saying,
he
Bobby
left.
Creekwater wasn't a success either. I actually went to high school with Creek, and he signed to Shady Records, and people thought he was going to be big. Nothing happened.
And he brought up the fact that the only member of D12 that was actually nice is unfortunately deceased. So he was in pocket. Like he was so in pocket that people are walking around and saying that somebody wrote it for him. And it's like Benzino was never confused with Black Thought on the mic by any means, but he was a
Exactly.
viable MC, Mike.
And the fact that
And
people feel like, or people are even saying that somebody wrote this for him, that lets you know that him got body.
well, Mike, what I'm saying is that like people understand this is like when you talk about somebody's daughter, you don't know what the nigga capable of. That's different.
Sure.
It's different. That's different. The level that you're willing to go, how hard you're willing to try, like it changes when you talk about somebody's baby girl. Like you know what I'm saying? And so like just off of that, it's like no, I'm gonna give him some credit and say that he wrote the record
Yeah.
because that was probably the tipping point that made him dig in. It's like, oh, it's not just about me and you anymore. You talking about her? I got that ass. You just
Well,
sit tight.
if
And he
he didn't
probably
write,
going
my thing is, if he didn't write it, who did?
you know how internet trolls go, Mike. We get
Yeah.
trolled all the time. Yeah,
Um,
you know how that goes.
and I also like the fact that he highlighted, and we spoke about this on the show, and people speak about this on the internet. He highlighted who Eminem was willing to diss and who he was not willing to diss. He says you
Mike,
diss.
this is what I mean. He's intelligent. He ran it down in order, Mike.
He did. He said you
He ran
diss
it down in order.
Elton John, your mom, your ex, Britney Spears. You diss Lana Del Rey, fam, Moby, Iggy, not Iguodala, the white broad. Are you shitting me?
And
Will Smith, Nick Cannon, Insane Clown Posse, a retired Joe Budden. Um,
and he brought up how his album is next to Slipknot in the pop section.
it is. These are
And Slip
facts.
and Slipknot used to be a punk band, by the way. I met
And then-
Slipknot when I was in high school.
and he said,
Great
"When I
time.
tell a lie, stop me." He said, "Machine Gun Kelly, that boy damn near whipped you. Come on, dog. How Vanilla Ice gonna dish you? Come on, man." And you know what? Let's back up a little bit. And I remember saying this maybe the other day.
Hold on, Mike.
Go ahead.
Let me ask you something.
Hmm.
And I need you to be honest.
For sure.
This is better than the Black Slim Shady by the Game.
I think it is. I think what the
And so
game I think what the
it's
game did on the Black Slim Shady, he attempted to, and I get it, and I love it actually. I ain't listen, I'm not backtracking on what I think about the Black Slim Shady. I think it's a great record. I think what he tried to do was he did the first half where he was being him. He made a whole theme of it. If this was just that last verse of the Black Slim Shady, then I would say something different. But as a totality, when you want just straight bars, yeah, I'll give it to this record. It was direct. Everybody gets it, and there's nothing you can say about it, but maybe somebody wrote it.
you don't get to split the records in half, Mike. It's
Yeah,
just better.
you're
And,
right.
and listen to what I'm saying. Because there were some people that felt like that the level that the game operated on, not as an MC, but as a song maker on that record, that Eminem should not respond because the song wasn't good enough to respond to on the level of a diss for somebody of his quote unquote stature. But Mike, I'm here to tell you, oh no, this diss record is, and now I'm with you. He officially needs to make something. Like he
This is
has to.
this is the debacle he's in, Coop. Because
You call it a debacle? Did you call it a debacle?
oh yeah, listen,
He in trouble.
listen. The Eminem
I got
show is over. The Eminem show is over. Let's just call it what it is. This is where he's at right now. And I think I
right.
said this on a live earlier when I jumped on just to kind of listen to the record with the people. He's in a place right now where I don't think he has the abilities that he had 20 some odd years ago to even make a record like The Sauce or Nail in the Coffin. That's one thing. I don't think the ability, the skill set, and all of those things are there now. Even if they were, he would have to not only respond to Benzino, he still got to respond to game. Because if you go out there and respond to Benzino, and that's cool for you to respond, you're cool with responding to people who rap part time, you're not going to give a response to the real rappers? That's not
I
a good
mean,
look. You need to go. What he has to do now is something that I don't believe he can do. I don't believe that he can rap to the level to be able to beat a record like this. I know that Benzino is going to continue even if Eminem comes with another record. But again, he's also going to have to mention the game. And if he mentions the game, man, he'd have opened up a whole can of worms that he's not going to be able to
and
close.
and, and here's what I liked about what Benzino did. He was like, no, he's like Royce can come get some too. He's like saying, like that's him. That's him. Like that's the part about the diss record that I like because that's the point that he's trying you. He's like, and go get your homie who can rap his ass
Because
off
that's
too.
the only
I'm
thing
feeling
that's
some
going to
type of way.
happen.
I'm
I
feeling
mean,
some type of way. Go get your homie that can rap his ass off.
I'm with you, Coop, but like I said the other day, I don't want to hear anybody but Eminem respond to this. I don't want to hear Crooked Eye. I don't want to hear Royce. I don't want
No,
to hear
that's the
Bizarre. I don't want to hear
that's
nobody. You know
that's
what I'm
the
saying?
psychological part about it, though,
You're
Mike.
right.
That's the psychological part about it, where he's like, "Yeah, I'll take on your homie too." As in, you're gonna have to run and go get him to win this. Like, you know
I,
what I mean? I like how
yeah.
that operates.
And
Yeah,
you know
it's
what? It's
dangerous.
funny
It's
because at
beautiful.
this stage, and I'm not saying this to be funny, it's just the reality. 50 Cent is enamored with television right now. That's what he does. We even heard that on Magic too when he was on Office Hours. Like, he's not in rap shape per se because he's not rapping full time, and that's cool. 50 can't save you right now. He can't. You got to do this. The guy that everybody said would ruin people's career if they came at him. Oh, nobody wants it with Eminem. Why do you think nobody says anything? Because he'll ruin your career. You done lost to MGK. You done lost to the game. And now you about to lose to Benzino. And shout out to the Detroit Lions. I think y'all got a great chance next year. Detroit, this is no reflection on y'all. This is him. Like old boy said, you don't represent Detroit like that. So I ain't putting this on Detroit. This is a
I mean, we
solo
about to
mission.
talk about. We talk about Boldy. We have to talk about Boldy, Mike, who actually has been the
Yeah.
best rapper in Detroit the last 5 years.
Shout out to Cash Dog. Real Detroit.
Yeah.
Andrew Williams with the super chat says, could it
Don't
be
do that, Mike.
true?
Don't say real Detroit, Mike. It's so
But I'm
petty.
just saying, he's not. Listen, I'm not
You've been
from
waiting for this
Detroit.
day.
I'm
You've been
not
waiting
from
for this day.
Detroit to be able to
You've been
speak
waiting for
on
this
it.
day.
But at the end of the day, man, it's hard for me to say that a rapper from his era that's never rhymed over a Dilla beat is real Detroit. It's hard for me to say that.
Mike, you want to know what would cure all that? A diss record over a Dilla beat.
It's not going to happen. He can't do it. He can't rhyme over a Primo track. He can't rhyme over a Dilla track. He can't.
I mean, he can probably get a Primo track via Royce, I would like to think. I don't know if
I'm
Preem is going
sure.
to entertain it.
Cool. You understand who you're talking about? This is Eminem. He's one of the high. He is the highest selling rapper of all time. He could get a Primo track anytime. He's never done it because he can't rhyme over it. He can't. That's why Renegade was produced by him. He couldn't rhyme over those beats on the Blueprint. You know how I feel like the Blueprint probably went down? Because Jay is a hustler. Jay is a real one, right? Jay probably was like, look, I need this guy on the album, but he's just not sounding right on any of these tracks I'm sending him. Let's just get something that he already worked on and I'll adjust to. Andrew Williams with the super chat says,
I don't believe you can rap as long as he has, Mike, and not being able to rap over a Dilla or a Primo beat. So I don't prescribe to that the way that you do.
well, I don't believe you can rap as long as he has and not rhyme over a Premier Adilla beat. And you have a guy who you're in a group with, Royce, who is in a group with Premier and made 2 albums with Premier. And you ain't rhymed over a Premier track yet? Biggie has, Jay has, Nas has. What's the problem?
I've told you mentioning him with them is unfair to both sides. It's unfair to those guys and it's unfair to him. He's
Most
not
Def
them.
has, Common has. Everybody's rhymed over a Premier track. What's the
He's not them
problem?
either. He's not them in my opinion either.
Royce has 2 albums with Premier. Is he Royce?
I told you Royce was the best MC out of Detroit, Mike.
I'm with you on that. I personally like
I told you Detroit's
Elzai, but
best
I'll give it
MC
to
of all
Royce.
time. I mean, you and I have had, Mike, when you and I argue about the best MC to ever come out of Detroit, you say Elzai, I say Royce. So
I
when
think
you're like,
collectively it's Royce. If we talk about the work and the album and the output, I'll give it to Royce. I personally think that Elzai is the best lyricist I've heard out of Detroit. But yeah, I'll give it to Royce. Andrew Williams with the super chat says, "Could it be that you're not really from them streets?" That's a Benzino line from the record. What we got here? I love it. That's dope. Was that a gift or you found that?
no, it was a gift.
That's dope. That's dope. Shout out to whoever
I
gave
love
you
it.
that. Hold on, let me get to some of these super chats. People done slow down the super chats because they want to hear a rant, I guess. Michael Williams with the super chat says,
I've been
"What's
waiting.
the better J intro, Medley or Dynasty? Hmm? Medley or Dynasty? Well, Dynasty.
Medley? What medley is he talking about?
Uh, King 21 with the super chat says, Big Sean's been the best Detroit rapper and just killed a Dilla beat. Listen, if
Um,
somebody feels like Big Sean's a better rapper than Eminem, I'm not mad at him.
but he's not better than Royce, Mike. Royce would ruin him on the mic.
Humble Bragger with the super chat says, Everlast Whitey's Revenge was the greatest Eminem diss record. Do you remember that? I remember that. But you know
I
what?
remember
I'm
White
going to give
Revenge.
Eminem
It was pretty
credit,
dope.
though. I Remember. I thought that was awesome. But once again, Everlast wasn't even rapping at the time. Everlast was doing his Whitey Ford thing. You know what I'm saying? Like he was singing the blues, literally. But
He
it's
was literally
always
singing the
guys
blues.
who aren't really rapping where he feels comfortable jumping out the window on. Nick
No,
Cannon,
Mike.
incredibly talented. We don't look at Nick Cannon as a rapper. Will Smith,
Mike.
he made it in the game as a rapper, but his acting career excelled him further than that. We don't look to
First
Will
of
Smith
all,
for raps.
so hold on. First of all, you want to talk about somebody being bigger than Eminem and not needing to respond? It's not that
Yeah.
Will Smith couldn't respond, Mike. It's that he chose not to respond because he's like, "Who's this punk ass white boy? I'm Will Smith."
What
Will
was the
Smith,
point
like,
of even coming at Will Smith like that?
Will Smith would have beat him, Mike. I told you, Will Smith is one of the most underrated rappers of all time, Mike, and
Somebody
I'll
in the
maintain
chat,
that.
somebody in the thread a few weeks back, they said something. They said Mike D doesn't like Eminem because he dissed Michael Jackson.
You don't have the right to diss Michael Jackson, just so we're clear. You
This is
don't have
my
the right.
thing, and there
It's a
is some truth
community
to
thing.
that. There's some
We
truth.
talk shit about Mike.
There's some truth to that.
You don't have a
But
right.
the thing is, I wouldn't. If the man's career was what it was, I wouldn't let that stand in the way of where I placed him. Right. But I will say this: when people talk down on Michael Jackson, this was like '04, while Michael was going through a trial and everything, it just lets me know the level of respect and the lack of appreciation you have for Black culture and Black music. It tells me a lot. I mean, I'm not even gonna lie. I mean, it's not just him, but even when Barack Obama was president and his response to when Michael Jackson passed, I was like, that's kind of weird. It made me feel like, okay, well, I don't know how strong your connection really is to Black culture because not only did we grow up on Michael Jackson, our parents grew up on Michael Jackson. And him being slightly younger than our parents, he grew up in the whole Jackson 5 era, you know what I'm saying, the Thriller era, Off the Wall era, and everything. So when I hear people just go out of their way to bash Michael Jackson, drag Michael Jackson. I mean, it just kind of let me know what Eminem thinks about black culture and what his connection really is with black culture. But I wouldn't hold that
First,
against him, but
first
it
of all,
doesn't
Mike,
put him in my favor either.
Mike, we're the only ones that get to make jokes about Michael Jackson and Bubbles and about Prince walking around with his ass out in some jeans. That's for us. We
And
make
they're in
those jokes.
jest. And even when we do it, they're in
We
jest.
make
It's
those
not
jokes.
like, yeah, I
We
mean,
make
he
those
really
jokes.
dedicated a whole music video to going at Michael Jackson and had kids jumping on the bed and all that stuff. It was
But I
really
told you,
corny.
Mike. But I've always told you that if I ever had a problem with Dr. Dre, it's the stuff that he has allowed Eminem to do under his watch as it involves black culture. Because you have a black man right there who is revered, that knows what certain things and certain colloquialisms in this culture mean, and he has chose to overlook it to support this white man.
Well,
And so
Dre has
it's
told
given
us.
easy. It gives a little easy and Jerry to it. You feel me?
Well, you're right. Dre told us back in '95 when he was on the show, the documentary by Russell Simmons, Def Jam. It's entertainment for him. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you go out here and do what's on record, or you hear me say on record, you're stupid. So he kind of already put it out there. And like you said, I agree with you, but obviously there are no limits to it. If it's going to sell and it's going to cause controversy, Drake's not going to stop it. And he's proven that. And he kind of said that from jump. But you're right. The whole Michael Jackson thing, I remember BET actually banned the video. People like Steve Harvey and I want to say it was like Al Sharpton and them were out there protesting against the video, and but nobody in the rap community really stood up and said anything at the time. I'm sure the internet age would have been a little different, but again, saying all that to say, yeah, I remember that. I do. And so when we have to really look at your career for what it is and be non-biased about it and look at your catalog and look at you album for album and start looking at the people that you actually chose to go to battle with and the people you didn't choose to go to battle with, I'm not going to have you in any favor. Why should I?
Why should I?
I mean, and people like to pull the whole cannabis thing out their ass. The truth of the matter is, once again, we were there. He didn't go at cannabis full throttle until cannabis was in the U.S. Army overseas, not with a
Yes,
record
sir.
deal or anything anymore. And that's just the truth.
These are facts.
Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says Benzino was great. The Black Slim Shady didn't land because it felt random, unprovoked, and awkward. A lot of us felt like, where did this come from? Glad you said that, Jermaine, but we never asked the question on the other end. Where did the Benzino disc come from Friday? Where did that come from? Where
I
did
told you. I
even
told you
when
he talked. Mike, I keep telling you, he talked about that man's daughter. It's
yeah,
on.
where did that come from? I mean, did that come from just interviews that Benzino was doing where people were asking him about Eminem or whatever?
No, Mike.
I
Here's
don't
where I'm
know.
going to give you some. Here's where I'm going to give you some credit again and let you talk your shit. It felt like a cheap shot because you're picking on a man who's always been older than you, that really doesn't rap anymore, and now you're picking on his daughter who does like it's. She does the Chris Brown thing. It's R&B, but it's kind of rapish.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And you thought you had yourself an easy target, and you got that ass beat
It's funny,
until
man.
further
The easy
notice.
targets have been happening since day one. We kind of ignored it because even on "Hi, my name is," he, he made a little Usher name drop, Marilyn Manson name drop, and then on the Real Slim Shady, he comes at Tommy Lee and Pamela Anderson on the first bars. As an adult, man, looking back on that, I'm like, look, man, if this man would have made a record talking about me beating my wife's ass, I would have had to go see this nigga. And then,
Yeah, I
second
know who
verse,
getting their ass beat if you do that. If you do that with
exactly,
me, I know who getting their ass beat. It's gonna be you. You
right.
don't got to worry about her. I'll be looking
And
for
then,
your ass out here.
and then he says, "Fuck Will Smith," and then Carson Daly, Fred Durst, Christina Aguilera, Britney Spears. All this is in the second verse. So randomly calling people out and just trying to start things with people randomly. That's his whole mo. But no one ever asked, where does this come from? But when Game did what he did, well, people were like, that was kind of random. Where did it come from? So he can do that, but other people can't do that to him. Is that what we're saying? The standards are different for him for some reason? Or that's his shtick. he's Slim Shady when he does that, and he's Eminem when he does something else.
Is that what it is? Is that his shtick, Mike?
I
Is
guess
that what it
that's
is?
what it is. Like, okay, Dr. Dre's in my basement. I'm crazy.
You're asking some fascinating questions, Mike.
I mean,
I'm like, I gotta give it to you on this day, Mike, because quite frankly, this is the day you've been waiting for, Mike. This is the day you've been waiting for, haven't you? Been waiting for
it's
this day.
all been building up. Leroy Green with the super chat says, "Good to see you guys." A2HH, but Master Ace album. Master Ace got album of the year right now. That's what I text Coop.
You did text me that, and I was thinking to myself, well, we have to put it in the rubric,
We will.
and also too, I do have some commentary about it in relationship to the Benny album because a lot of people are walking around like it's album of the year, and I'm just gonna tell you now and give you a little clue into where I'm going. Y'all are giving off some get off my lawn old head boom bap rap vibes by saying that too,
I knew you
with
were
your
gonna
old
say
ass,
this. One Coop texted me.
niggas,
Coop
you
texted
old
me
ass
before I
niggas.
heard the album, and he said, "Mike, you're gonna like the Master Ace." I'm like, I know what that means.
Yeah,
And I did. So he was right.
I'm just saying. We're just gonna have a conversation about how it's 2024 as well when we talk about the Master Ace album. I found the Master Ace album to be wonderful, Mike.
Yeah, it's hard to
I'm
critique.
I'm also 42,
Yeah.
and I have to be honest with myself, and I have to be honest with our demographic. And we're gonna get into that shortly because we're gonna talk about the Boldy album and the Che album as soon as you get done waxing poetic about him, Mike, or lack thereof.
Lack thereof. We're gonna we talked about the record. We need to talk about what's gonna happen after the record, after these super chats. Michael Williams says
He needs to
Medley
respond.
is the intro on volume 1, aka A Million and One. Okay.
Oh, that's better. That's better than the Dynasty intro. That's the best start to any Jay-Z album.
Jeez, man. A Million and One is heavy, man.
And Rhyme No More, Mike.
Shit crazy.
Mike, we have a spot. We have a spot down here called Apartment 4B. This owned by guys from Brooklyn, and it's based on the line from
No.
Rhyme No More, Mike.
Bro, when we did that Kanye and Jay-Z song matchup and you played A Million and One, I'm like, man, this record's heavy.
Shit's different.
Once again, premiered twice, right? The Evils and A Million and One, man, those are high level Jay-Z records. High level Jay-Z
Those are
records.
two of his 10 best records, Mike. Those are two of his
I
10
was
best records.
easily 10.
Maybe
It could
5.
be debated 5. It could be debated
Right.
5. Because
Maybe
as much
5.
as I love Imaginary Player, it's hard for me to really objectively say Imaginary Player is better than A Million and One and The Evils. It really is. I
It's not better than
personally
The
like it
Evils.
better. It's
I
hard.
like it better. It's not better than The Evils to me, though.
It's not. If I'm being objective, I like it better than The Evils, but if I'm being objective, The Evils is a better song.
I think we prefer imaginary players because if we were to play a record and be like, who is Jay-Z that you grew up on? It's like, cue imaginary players for these niggas, please.
Yeah. Conversational.
That would be the record.
Yeah.
Conversational Jay. But if we're just
honestly,
talking
you
about
know
the
what? I would
quality
play
of a
You Don't
record-
Know, but yeah, Imaginary Place is right there too.
But if we're talking about the quality of a record, though, Mike, The Evils is arguably his best record still to this day.
It could be, and he would probably say that himself. That's what I love about Jay, though. When they talk to Jay, he's honest about his catalog. Unless he's promoting a new album or whatever. But once you get past him promoting a new album, he's very honest about his catalog. He'll tell you what his best stuff is.
Yeah.
And it usually
Like,
falls in line with the stuff we say.
But he'll tell you what his personal favorites are, too.
Yeah, he will.
Like, I'll never forget when he said Lucky Me was maybe his favorite song to make on Volume 1. And I'm like, how is that? How is that?
Mm-hmm.
How? Explain it to me, Jay.
King 21 with the super chat says Sean watched Royce on Detroit versus everybody, Coop. I don't think Coop's just I don't want to put the words in your mouth, Coop, but you don't seem to be too high on Big Sean as an MC. Sean got bars.
I'm an album guy, Mike. I'm gonna be an album guy because that was the standard by which the great artists were judged. A lot of guys have come along and had the ability to spit hot verses. Very few have shown the ability to consistently make good to great to classic albums. What's his best album? And that would be where I have him rated the way that he does. Because I don't even think he's made a top 100 rap album. Maybe not even 150, Mike. And
what did you think about Detroit too? Because I think that's the most recent offering that we kind of, held high.
I enjoyed it, Mike, but that's what I'm saying. Like, okay, so let's rate Detroit 2 in relationship to just this era since we've been doing this podcast starting in March of 2020 because we're coming up on our 4-year anniversary of the show. Actually,
I was just thinking
um,
about
yeah, me too. So in the 4 years that we've been doing this, Mike, do you think that Detroit 2 would even make our top 50 rap
that.
albums?
50? Yeah. Maybe
Are
not
you
20 or
sure?
25. I got to think about it. I don't want to
Are
put
you
my foot in
sure,
my
Mike?
mouth.
Are you sure?
Hmm. We need to, yeah, because do you think
Because I
everything,
mean,
all,
Mike.
do you think
Because
all
Mike,
six of Nas and Hit Boys would be above it?
yes, I was about to
Even
say. So
Magic?
first of all, yes, all the Freddie albums are better. All the Nas hit albums are better. Mike, I mean, all of Benny albums have been better. That would be three. About three of West Side's albums have been better. About three or four of Conway's albums have been better, Mike. So we could just go within Griselda, Hit Boy, and Freddie and pick about 15 to 17 albums better than that album. And that's not getting to everybody else's shit. Are you sure? Like, Mike, you remember Sky Zoo? Because we're about to talk about this in a minute. Remember Sky Zoo's All the Brilliant Things? Do you think that
Yeah.
the Big Sean album is better than that? Because
No,
it's
it's
not.
not. All the Brilliant Things is awesome.
Isaiah Rashad's the House is Burning. Is it
I
better than
listen to
that,
that
Mike?
all the time. I was listening to that this
Mike,
morning.
is it better than ELE 2 by Busta Rhymes?
I'm gonna keep it real with you, Coop. I haven't listened to Detroit 2 in a minute. I probably
That's
haven't
what
listened
I'm
to it in a year.
saying. So I'm not hating on the man. I know he's super talented and he has the ability to stand with the Titans when he's rapping for just a verse. But if we're talking about the albums, Mike, it's like Detroit 2, if it did make top 50 albums since we've done this podcast, it would be somewhere between 40 to 50, Mike. And that's just not going to cut it in a 4-year period. So it's like I'm very clear on how I feel. I'm objective and unbiased like I usually am. I just go check the rhyme, I check the album, I check the beats, and here's where I'm not being biased. Didn't Hit Boy do beats on that album?
He did.
I don't like those beats like that.
Really? Mad Max with the super chat says, I've heard Sean out rap both Royce and M on the same track. Royce ain't that nice. Lupe will tell you that. Not Lupe will tell you.
Lupe will
Mad
tell
Max
you a
with a
lot of things.
zing there.
Hold on. Mad Max, Lupe will tell you a lot of things, especially when you're still holding on to his deleted tweets because he ran from me.
Man, Lupe is, man,
Yeah.
he gave Royce the
Real sweet
business.
ass nigga. Yeah, he gave Royce the
Listen,
business though.
Lupe made an example of Royce and most stuff too. And for the Eminem fans out there, I want to say this, and I
He
said
tried
this
to make an example out of me, then he deleted his tweets like a buster.
I said this earlier, man. I get it, man. When you're a fan of somebody, you're a fan, man. You ride with them and all of that. But we have to understand, are you more of a fan of Eminem or are you a fan of hip hop? And if you're a fan of hip hop, you got to be objective about what's going on with your favorite artists. Like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys that Andre 3000 is a solo artist with no solo material and no song with 3 verses in a 30-year career is a top 5 MC because I like him, because I grew up on him, because he inspired me and you know what I'm saying, was a big impact on me. I'm not gonna do that because I love hip hop too much to even say that. Lupe really shined a light on Mos Def for me. That was kind of a turning point for me as well when Mos was coming out here going at Drake again, talking about he'll battle anybody, and then Lupe stepped up and was like, "What's up?" And he said, "I ain't got time to write raps." I wasn't gonna let Mos Def, even though he was one of my favorite rappers at the time and still is, I wasn't gonna give him a pass for that. And you guys shouldn't give Eminem a pass for this Benzino stuff. What happens moving forward? If he doesn't respond to this, there's no excuse for that. It's no excuse. He has to be docked for that. And if he does respond and it's not adequate, it's got to be docked for that too. If he does respond and he has failed to respond to the game, we got to factor in those things too. Because again, look at the resume of the people that he's willing to respond to. It's blaring. It really is. Say what you will about Drake. He responded to Pusha T when that record wasn't even totally about him. He could have easily been like, man, that's Wayne's problem. But he didn't. And even though Pusha T did what he did, as we expected, at least Drake jumped in the ring. And none of you guys, including myself, would have thought that Drake would have did Meek Mill as dirty as he did him. And he did. That happened.
Told you, Mike.
He could have
A
walked
singer.
away from that too. He could have said, you know what? I'm too big for that. I'm a singer. I don't need to jump in that. He didn't.
Mike, Drake is a king of the light skins, Mike.
By
King of the
no
light
measure,
skins.
and I mean this, unless you want to go on some syllable rapidy rap bullshit, no metric is Eminem better than Drake. Bottom line. On some hip hop shit. It's not. And this guy's supposed to be the battle rapper? And we're sitting here waiting for his response to Benzino? You just got smoked by Benzino? It's not enough that you got smoked by Machine Gun Kelly. And your audience tried to skew those numbers because, what's the name of that song? Kill Shot? Because it did all these numbers. Don't nobody remember any of them bars on that shit. Nobody. You got smoked by Machine Gun Kelly and Benzino. The game, I get that. You know, the game dismantled G Unit. The game is a machine. The game ain't gonna stop. I understand him ducking the game.
I'm just,
I
let you
understand
have
the
your day,
game.
Mike.
I'm
Let you
sorry.
have your day,
I've
Mike.
been sipping a little bit, but I'm keeping it real. Keeping it real.
You've been waiting for this day. It's okay. You've been waiting. You've been waiting for this day.
You know what? When I heard that diss record, man, I was like, wow.
You were so happy. You were so happy, Mike. When the diss record got done, I thought of Mike. I was like, Mike is happy today. It's going to be a great show.
I was like, wow, man. I mean, I'm happy that we get a great analysis of this career. There's a lot of smoke and mirrors when it comes to certain parts of this career. Now, I'm not gonna diss the numbers. I mean, the numbers are the numbers, the accomplishments are the accomplishments, and the albums are the albums. But this whole thing about him being this battle rapper that nobody wants to see on a record, that's not true. It's never been true. And we're finally seeing that. The truth's
You're waiting for this day. You've been waiting for this day.
I mean, I'm glad this day has come. He's not going to respond to this. Do you think he's going to respond?
I'm not joking when I say this, Mike, and I don't have him in the top 5 or 10 or 15. He may not even make my top 20, but wherever I have him, if he doesn't respond, I'm sliding him down another 5 to 10 notches for not responding. Because whether I agree with some of the things that you say or not, here's what I do firmly believe about hip hop. When somebody makes a dope ass diss about you, you do not use excuses why you don't respond. You respond. If the diss record is dope, you have to respond. That's it. There ain't no like conversation about it. There ain't no like numbers metric. There ain't no street credentials metric. If somebody disses you, like Mike, there are things that he said on the record where I was like, ooh, oh shit. And when that happens on a diss record, you have to respond. And about that, he has to respond. Damn all the numbers. Damn his whiteness. Damn his hood. Damn 8 months. Like all that. I don't care about none of that. When you get dissed in this climate, in this culture, you have to respond. And when somebody like Drake has shown the propensity to respond to the likes of somebody with the street credentials of a Meek Mill, a Pusha T, or whoever else want it, whether he wins or loses, he responds, Mike.
Because according to Mos Def, Drake is a pop artist. He shouldn't have to respond anyway.
We don't hand out hall passes on diss records. It's like, let's give him a hall pass for the diss record. No. It's like, no, nigga, you better step to the mic.
I mean, I think at the end of the day, unless somebody's on some clout chasing shit, on some, and when I say clout chasing, I mean like, you got somebody around the corner who hadn't sold a single record coming at somebody that sold 1 million records. Unless you got a situation like that, I think that you have to respond to somebody who's had a career like the Game's. I think you do. I think that based on the people that he's responded to for way less, yes, you got to respond to that. You responded to Mariah Carey, and Mariah Carey's a superstar, but she's a singer. You responded to Nick Cannon. You responded to Everlast. You responded to
Mike.
You know what I mean? It's like the Game.
You've given the rundown 3 times of who he's responded to, like 3 or 4 times.
I don't want to be redundant. I'm just saying. I think that this narrative that you can't respond to the Game because some people didn't like the record, I think that's objective, right? I don't think that really quantifies who you respond to. I think that the legend, if you're this battle machine like people say you are,
Mike.
and the record wasn't what it was, shut game down. You should be able to do that. You should be able to do that on wax. I think where we first saw this and where this came to light is when he wasn't able to stop Machine Gun Kelly. I think this opened everything up. Because when Machine Gun Kelly jumped out the window, I remember people were like, oh, what's he doing? Oh, man, his career's about to be over. He's done. I'm sitting there like, yeah, that's never been proven before. And it still hasn't been proven. It's like when you find a boxer that has been fighting whack boxers or whatever and gets pumped all the way up and he has a glass jaw and he gets in the ring with somebody who knows he has a glass jaw and exposes that to everybody else. Man, it's blood in the water now. Nobody's scared of Eminem on wax. You might be scared of him behind the scenes or what he might be able to do behind the scenes to you. But on wax, no. Who is he really taking out the game like that, Coop? This ain't a movie, dog. This ain't a movie.
You've been waiting for this day for so long.
B Rabbit's not a real person,
I'm just
man.
gonna let you talk.
B Rabbit's in a script. It's not a real person. Mad Max with the super chat says, "Well, Dr. Dre pushed gangbanging culture on us. He he's more of what people say Hove is than Hove actually is. Dr. Dre sold his people out a long time before him." Mad Max in the building. Let's see. I think we got a couple more super chats and we can move on because I don't want to be on this all night. We got a lot of other stuff.
Are you sure? Are you sure you don't want to be on it all night, Mike? Are you sure?
Well, listen, man. If he don't respond, then I guess we got to respond with that too. How long does he have to respond? Let's say that because Benzino said he got 48 hours to respond.
I'm with Benzino. You've dropped 2 diss records. This is getting very Meek Millish right quick where Drake was like, I know you just ain't going to let me punk you, right?
Man, if he don't drop a song by our next show on Monday, oh my God, man. I'll have some time to really get some notes together. King21 with the super chat says, wow. Hell nah, go re-listen to Detroit 2. Detroit 2 was dope. I'm going to go re-listen to it. Reggie Silver with the super chat says, I'm an M fan, but he made a huge mistake giving Benzino life. Completely unnecessary. He's now in risk of losing a battle that he won decisively 20 years ago. I agree with that, Reggie. But you know what? Mm-hmm. This is his MO. He picks on people that he thinks he can already beat and has already beaten, and he didn't anticipate anything like this happening. Because when he picks his fights, like we were talking about last episode, it usually goes the way that he wants it to go. This wasn't part of the script. Dot with the super chat says, Sean's last 3 albums have also went #1 as well, so he deserves his respect. Yeah, he does deserve his respect. I think he's one of the most underappreciated of his era. Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, Volume 1 intro is the better song, but the Dynasty intro sonically makes for a better album intro. The build-up was masterful. Yes, it was.
No, it doesn't.
I can agree with that.
Wrong. I don't agree with that at all. Like
I'm sorry, but
the Dynasty intro is not fucking with 1,000,001 and Rhyme No More on any level, in any context, in by any measure. 1,000,001 Rhyme No More is a top 10 Jay-Z song. The Dynasty intro is like number 50. Like, stop that.
Not even if we're talking about in the context of an intro, though.
Mike, how good is the Dynasty album? All right.
The source gave it 4.5 mics.
The source give everything Jay do 4.5 mics. Mike, just so you want to know the truth.
I think they did give it 4.5. That's not a 4.5 mic album.
Mike, we're not even sure if it's a 4.
Yeah. If I had to pick between 3.5 and 4, and those are the choices back then for the source, I would lean more towards 4 than 3.5. But yeah, it's between.
Mike, it's got the Dynasty intro. It's got I Just Want to Love You. It's got This Can't Be Life. And it's got 1-900 Hustler. The rest of that stuff is just okay.
Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, I'm sorry, but Sean has a lot of trash bars. A lot. Mm.
You want to know what? Here's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to make a note to myself. I'm going to make the top 50 rap albums that have come out since we started doing this podcast.
I like that.
And let's keep in mind, this podcast got started with the Jay-Z J Electronic album. That's better than Detroit too.
It is.
It is.
Michael Williams with the super chat says, in your opinion, what distinguishes manifesto rap, mafioso rap, mafioso rap from regular gangster rap? What characteristics are inherent in mafioso rap? That's a good question. I think
I think
mafioso rap is a little bit more articulate than gangster rap, where gangster rap is more so in your face. That's in my opinion.
yeah, I'm about to say, I think it's the vernacular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It said Mike went ghostwrite. Y'all talking this ghostwriting shit. Who ghostwrote it? Who ghostwrote it? Like, who would
Please,
write
can
it?
we move on? So, like, y'all stop asking Mike questions about Eminem so we can actually move to other topics and
Let's
review
move to
albums. Oh
something
my
else.